everybody. Randy Patterson here with Boomerocity. And on this episode, I am speaking with Stephane Schuck. He is in Paris, France. Not Paris, Texas, but Paris, France. So you're going to need to listen for a different kind of accent here. Instead of a Texas drawl, it is that very refined French accent. I always love hearing when people speak that way. So listen closely because he has a lot of great stuff to say, a lot of experiences in making his band's new album. The band is the Salt Collective, and the new album is A Brief History of Blindness. And it's produced by Chris Stamey, who, as you recall, is with the DBs, and we've had the privilege of interviewing him a few months ago. Great guy. So you're going to love this album. You're going to love this interview. And while you're at it, as I always ask, would you please hit like? And if you're not already a subscriber, would you please hit subscribe? It should not be costing you anything extra, but it sure helps Boomerocity out a lot. Also, please share it with your friends and ask them to do the same thing. So without any further ado, here's my first of what I hope are many more interviews to come with Stephane Schuck of the Salt Collective. Until next time, this is Randy Patterson with Boomerocity. Take care. Hello, Stephane.
Yes.
Change.
It works. Can you hear me?
I hear you just fine.
Okay, great.
Good deal. Likewise, are you clicking in from Paris?
Yes, I'm currently in Paris. And you?
I am. Well, you know that old Beatles song back in the USSR?
Yes, of course.
I'm not in the USSR, but there's a line in there talking about the Smoky Mountains way down south. That's where I am. I'm in the Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee.
Yes.
So.
Nice place.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful here. So, well, thank you for taking the time to meet with me. I've been looking forward to this. I love the new album. And so for those here in the United States who may not be familiar, please tell viewers a little bit about yourself and about the Salt Collective.
Yes, with pleasure. So my name is Stephane Schuck, so I'm the leader of this band. It's not really a band, it's a collective of a lot of people. And first, at the beginning, there was only a French power trio. We were only 3 people, with me on guitar and a friend on bass and drums. And then, with a long story, I get connected to Chris Stamey from the DBs.
I've met Chris, great guy.
Yeah, great guy. And he was my hero when I was a teenager, and all this story is a true fan story, Finally, I play with him, and it's just wonderful. And when we started working with Chris, I write all the songs, and we immediately have the feeling that we need some different singers, because there were some different feelings on the song, and then the idea of the collective was there, so we proposed to a lot of people, and we are so lucky that we have so many people on both of the albums. That's really interesting when you're a musician to have all this collaboration. It's I guess it's the true essence of music, collaborate with people.
Agreed. What's behind the name? Why did you name it the Salt Collective?
In fact, salt was a play on word with a rock salt, and as I lived by the sea when I was younger, I was in Normandy, so we love the salt of the sea and things like that. So salt was the name, and then collective because we work with so many people, with so many brilliant people, that we have to have this idea into the name, so that when we put collective, but it could be, Salt Club, things like that, but it's Salt Collective now.
Yeah, well, it makes sense So it's almost kind of like being it's a collaboration, but it's a collective decision making process, I would imagine, right?
Yes, so we have very well defined now methodology. I'm starting by writing the music. So finding the chords, the change chord, and all the structuration of the song. Verse, bridge, chorus two, outro, intro. And then we work with Chris on this piece of music until we are satisfied. And as we are psychopathic guys, we could spend months on only one song, and maybe we can spend, you know, 1 week on only 2 bars of music, saying what are we going to do during these 8 beats, and we make a lot of experimentation. And then when we are satisfied with this piece of music, we send it to different singers, and they have totally freedom to do what they want on this music. So what they are feeling with the music, so they have totally freedom to write their vocal lines, their melody, even their lyrics. We don't give them any information, just the music, you know, and they add their layers. And it's really interesting to work like this because sometimes the song is taking some unexpected direction, and sometimes it's surprising. And on this album, it was only good surprise, working like
Hmm.
this with all these people.
Well, that sounds like I mean, I'm not a musician, but I've certainly spoken to enough of them to know that that sounds like a fun environment in which to work in, to be able to just let all the creative juices flow. Is that how you feel about it?
Exactly, exactly. It's kind of a creative feeling that we are giving to everybody, and we have a lot of pleasure and fun. There is no pressure. There is no pressure, because all these guys, have their careers. They are so brilliant, and we are all together because the love of music, and the love of being together, and the love of writing songs together, and yeah, it's pretty interesting.
What inspired the title of the new album? I found it very intriguing. And is there a central message or a theme that you and the band wanted to convey through that title?
Yeah, in fact, there is two options. There is one option who is to think, because I'm a very optimistic guy, and now we are living in darkness. The world is going mad in a lot of aspect, and I'm pleased to think that it will be only a brief history of blindness, all this darkness,
Mhm.
and then after things will get better, and then we could say it was just a brief history of blindness, that that was the thing. And the second thing is that I'm a huge fan of Andy Partridge from XTC, and
Mhm.
what lucky I am to have Andy Partridge on this album. It it's crazy. And he wrote a little song that was a brief history of rock and roll. It was a song that was only 30 seconds. And in 30 seconds, he making a brief history of rock and roll, so with a rockabilly riff, then a heavy distortion song, and then a synthetic song in 30 seconds. And I was laughing a lot with this song, and I love a brief history, So that's how the title came to me.
Very cool. Was this album written? I mean, I realize everybody had contributed to the writing of the songs and the music on the album, but was it speaking for the whole band? Was the album written as a reflection of personal experiences, world events, or a combination of the two?
It was a combination of the two because, as we give totally freedom to the singer to give their feelings. By example, in The Shadow of the Moon, which was co-written with Lynn Blakey, she was inspired by the eclipse, a few months ago. So that was an event, and she wanted to talk about this into the song, and we tried to keep a coherence between all the songs, because as we have different singers, the danger is that you feel it's different band playing different song, but we try to work on this. And the fact is that we recorded live in the studio at Manchester Studio. There was a core band playing all the songs live in the studio. So there is this kind of energy that you find on all the songs and this kind of coherence between the songs. So we try to manage this kind of coherence between all the songs.
Interesting. How long did it take you guys to make the album from initial concept through its completion?
A lot of time because that's totally crazy, Because as I say, we love to torture the song, So you will say you have to be spontaneous, but we're too old for this, We are not 20 years old, so we like to really deeply think all the little details that you can hear in the song. There are so much things, there are layers and layers and layers, and sometimes I know it's my bad because I wanted to do simple things, but at the end, it's always complicated things, you know. And Paul McCartney used to say that doing simple is really hard, you know. So I try this, but so it takes a long time because there is this process of making the best piece of music to give to the singer. Then the singers are working on their own, and then come back with the vocal line, and then we go into the studio, running from the demo to the final track, playing live in the studio with the singer in our headphones. And after this, there is a mix period. And at this point, we are also psychopathic guys. I mean that a song like Cloud to Cloud on the album, I think that there is maybe 17 versions of it now.
Wow.
It's yes. And the fact is that you have to make a choice at one point. You have to say stop. We have to focus on one version. But we have so much music, that we are always experiencing things. And sometimes with quiz, I think that if people are aware of what we are doing, they will think we are totally crazy because sometimes we're exchanging version when there is only one symbol hit that has changed, and saying this one is better.
So if you come out with 17 versions of a song, you could actually release this album 17 times and it would sound completely different, no?
Yeah, exactly. And I have all the version in my computer, I can run some different version of every song.
When you were working on this, you guys are all very experienced musicians and such. Um, it's probably hard to surprise you guys these days because of all the albums you've worked on. But were there any surprises for you guys as you were putting this album together?
Yes, despite our experience, and I speak to the author because, I'm not a professional musician. I mean, my first life, I'm a medical doctor, still working in the medical field. And we have a lot of surprise. I can give you two examples. At the very last song on the album is All the Wage, who has a kind of Broadway feeling, things very smooth and cool. And believe it or not, the first version of All the Wage was a punk song,
Hmm.
very high energy, working like this, heavy distortion and, harsh waves. And at the end, we arrived to this version. So they're surprised at every moment. That's what I was saying some moments ago. When you give the song to another one, he will have different vision, and it's always surprising because you, by definition, you have the feeling that the singer will do something good on this song, but he comes always with something unexpected and saying, wow, I didn't see it at all this way, but now we're going to work on this direction. And I mean, nearly all the songs on the album, there was some surprise like this, you know?
Yep.
Even in the shadow of the moon, you know, there is that I'm feeling when I wrote it. Immediately I feel it makes me think of William, but then I give it to Lynn Blakey, who came out with the vocal lines, and it was obvious this RM feeling was here. And so Chris asked Mike Mills to sing on it, and at the end we've got this feeling, but it was, you know, at the beginning it was only a little feeling, and then the surprise come to make bigger feeling, and
Hmm.
it's so great when you are a musician to see your song moving like this, you know.
Yeah. Were there any times, or were there even a lot of times, where, as you guys were, we use a phrase here in the United States called micromanaging or overanalyzing something to where everybody kind of came to a deadlock, a standstill, if you will, and you guys go, hey, let's go to the cafe, have some wine, and let's figure this out. Was there a lot of that going on?
Yeah, yeah, that's what we can call maybe serendipity. You know, we find things by hazard, by
Yep.
random, you know. It happens all the time when you are playing music, you know, and there is tons of example in rock and roll or music, you know, so things that came you didn't plan, and it's a pleasant feeling because you know something happens when you are together into a studio, and you are making the wrong note, you know, you fuck the song, I was bad, but there is, you say it, play it again, and then you've got a direction, you know, say yes, we're going to explore this. And I think there's a lot of musicians who are working like this, you know, by accident. You find some
Yeah.
really cool stuff, you know. That's
Yeah.
what I call serendipity, but
I like it. I love the sound and the vibe of the record. Where what musical eras or artists do you feel most influenced this record? Either the sound or the process, how you got along, that kind of thing.
it's a good question. I mean, of course, we love the same thing, all the members of the collective, you know. So if we say in two words, you know, we're talking about power pop. So of course, you have in mind all the songs, but I think that the main influence is because I write nearly all the songs on this album. I'm always influenced by the DBs, you know, since I'm a teenager, and they are so huge for me that I always try to do something like the DBs, you know. So I
Hmm.
guess there is some consequences on the way I'm writing songs. So there is the DBs, and there is all the, of course, the people that are on the album. I'm a huge fan of Amy Mann, by example. Since Till Tuesday, I'm a huge fan of Jason Faulkner. Still Jellyfish. I'm a huge fan of Matthew Cowes, you know, from Nada Surf, because I saw them at that first gig in France years ago. So I guess all these influences have consequences on the way I'm writing songs, you know. So I try to get away from these influences, you know, because I'm always concerned with the fact that, you know, it could sound too much like, you know.
Right.
So I'm trying to get some some other views, but I love so much music, you know. I'm listening music all the time. I mean, I- even when I'm sleeping, I think, just yeah. My kids are totally crazy because sometimes I have my headphones and I'm sleeping with the music, you know. So
Mhm.
of course there's a lot of influences, and I love so much bands, so much guys. I could spend the whole night speaking about what I like in music, you know. But so yes, a lot of influences.
Were there any, I don't know, maybe call them happy accidents during the recording that helped shape the album sound wise?
There is one, but it's not on the album.
Okay.
So it's the song "The Quickening Sky" with Django singing it with remarkable job. And in my view, this song was supposed to be the last on the record, and I wanted to end it with kind of catharsis. Things absolutely no control. Everybody is playing different things at the same time, kind of wall of sound, but going something like A Day in a Life, the famous break, but with maybe much longer. And then I said to the guy in studio, we have to do something totally crazy. So let the tape record and let's doing things. And we played during 25 minutes.
Wow.
It was a night, it was late. Um, and then it's always the same thing when you're doing this. When you're inside, you say, it's wonderful. We are touched by the hand of God. And when you listen to this 2 days after, you say, what is this? And so we even with quiz we even don't find the tracks of this 25 minutes of madness. But in my view, it could have been on the album, not the 25 minutes, but a 2 or 3 minute condense at the end of the album. But I guess it will be for the next album.
Maybe that one song can be the whole album, right?
Yeah, maybe, but I'm not sure people will like it.
It's kind of like a Grateful Dead song. One song is the whole album, it feels
Yeah,
like.
exactly, exactly.
Are there any are there specific lyrics on the album that hold a special personal meaning for you? Something, maybe it's not your favorite song, because I quit asking artists what the favorite song is, but and you can combine your answer with this question too. Is there a calling card that you point to on the album that says, "Hey, if you guys like this song, you're really going to love the rest of the record"? And for you, are there specific lyrics on the album that are special to you?
Yes, there is many, but I think at the song "Cloud to Cloud" with Matthew. Uh,
Mhm.
on the chorus, at a moment, he said, "What a sky! It's a never-ending show," and it really speaks to me because I'm also a photographer, and I'm in love with the sky, with the clouds, and I have maybe 2,000 pictures of clouds
Wow.
at home, you know. And so when he come back with his lyrics, I said, "Wow, what a sky! It's a never-ending show." I mean, I really love this. And of course, there is other lyrics on the song, like "Waiting for the End of Time." It's kind of melancholic thought, but with optimistic music, and I like this so much.
Oh, yeah, I do too. I like that song. What are your plans for the next few months, either with your own music? Are you going to bring the band together to play some shows there in France and elsewhere, or what are the plans?
Yes, yes, we're working on playing live together again because we love this so much, being together and playing this music. We already made a tour in the US 2 years ago. It was only 6 or 7 gigs on the East Coast, but we have so much fun and so much pleasure that we want to do it again. So we are working on this, but we have to manage with the schedule and agenda of everybody. So it's a
Yeah.
nightmare.
I bet. I can imagine.
Yeah, the agenda and booking the venue and things. So by chance, we have some very good people working with us on this. And yes, I think we will do again a single gig in Paris, like kind of release party, as we did from the previous album. It was in a little studio in Paris, and it was really, really cool. So yes, I want to do it again. We are working on this, and we also working on the next album. I have 10 or 15 songs that are ready, and that became the process, of selecting the songs and then spend months on tours, so we have to start early if we want to succeed for the next album.
Very good. Well, I hope if you come to the States again, I hope you come somewhere or another. We can be close to each other so I can catch one of those shows and maybe come
Yes,
backstage and say hello to you, shake your hand, and have you
of
sign the
course,
CD for me. That would be very nice.
it would be my pleasure, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Stephane, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for taking the time. I wish you much success on the album, and I think you'll have it. And I look forward to hearing more from you. And when you have that next album coming out, let's do another one of these and we'll talk about it. Okay?
Of course, thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to speak about this album because I like it so much, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
well,
you.
thank you. Take care and have a good evening there in Paris.
Yeah, and thank you for your background. You have a very good background.
I thought you might like that. If you want to use it, I'll be happy to send it to you through Howard, and you can use it all you want. Then
Yeah, with pleasure.
I'll
Yeah,
I'll do that. I'll do that.
cool.
So,
Thank you,
all right,
sir.
Stephane. Take care
Bye.
and have a nice evening.
Bye.
Bye bye. This has been another fun-filled episode of Boomerocity with your host and producer, Randy Patterson. The theme song is Roll the Dice and is recorded and used by permission from Quinton Hope. Quinton is spelled Quinten, and Hope is Hope. And you can find out more about Quinton at quintonhope.com. Post-production is done by Cardinal Sins Productions. The Boomerocity name, logo, and content is copyright protected. Segments may only be used with written permission by Boomerocity and/or its assignees. Inquiries should be directed to input@boomerocity.com. Copyright 2025.